Okay, so welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is going to be quick, straight to the point. It is about the word calling in Scripture. Now, in the New Testament, when you read Greek, when you study Greek, you will immediately notice that there are three words for the word calling or called. You have eklege, eklektos, and eklegomai. Eklege, eklektos, eklegomai. And that's the Greek word for call or calling, called. The Greek word for church is ekklesia, which means the called out assembly. Now, this is a salvation topic, it's soteriology. If you study systematic theology, you know that what I'm talking about right now is the discipline within systematic theology called soteriology. The reason why I'm mentioning this word calling is because there are two passages of Scripture I want to bring your attention to so that you will know the importance of this. Two passages, well, rather three. Two passages of Scripture that I want to bring your attention to. The first one is in 1 Peter. 1 Peter chapter 2, yes? 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9. It says, "But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for God's own possession, so that you may proclaim the excellencies of Him who called you out of darkness into His marvelous light." That's scripture one. Let me show you another one. This is speaking about Him calling you out of darkness into light. The calling out. And then we have in Colossians chapter 1 verse 13, it speaks about this. "For He rescued us from the domain of darkness and transferred us to the kingdom of His beloved Son." So we have this dominion of darkness that you were in, this dominion of darkness that we were in rather, and God sovereignly saved us by calling us out of it. And then we have the most important verse of today. Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 25. It says, "Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the ecclesia, church, the called out assembly, and gave Himself up for her." What does that mean? That's limited atonement right there. Jesus Christ only died for His called out assembly, His elect, those for whom the Father gave Him before the foundation of the world, those for whom the Father sent and gave His Son to die for, and those for whom Jesus Christ willingly gave Himself for, to be the substitute, the substitutionary sacrifice for their sins, that they will be guilt-free, innocent, and then draw them to Himself by changing their hearts, regenerating them, enabling them to believe in order for them to be justified. And when they are justified, it is in that act of justifying them, God being the object, performing the action of justifying the individual who is the subject. He literally gives you His righteousness, and you are not only innocent and guiltless, but you are now righteous and without sin. Righteous and without sin. And if there's any confusion there with regards to passive obedience of Christ, His passive obedience is that which removes the guilt and makes you innocent, removing the sin out of the way. His active obedience is that which makes you righteous and makes you sin less. Both of them, I would say, this is just my subjective opinion, both of them makes you sin less. Both of them makes you sin less. But only one of them makes you righteous, and that is his active obedience. So Jesus Christ only died for his elect, only died for his people. He only died for his people. And those people are the ones who will hear his voice and come to him and believe and be saved, justified, granted salvation from God. Well, if you've noticed, I got my hair done, and it was done by my wife. She is such a darling. She did a great job with my hair. It has been growing now for almost 3 years. When it finally gets to that 3-year mark, I'm gonna cut it all off. I started growing it when I was 23, and I'm gonna be 26 in 2 months. So when that happens, all this gonna be gone. But it's all right. It grows back. But I hope that you guys learned something today. I hope that you guys read the references. And if you don't know what this particular belief or doctrine is, it is Calvinism. We believe what the Bible teaches. We believe what the Bible teaches. And we literally believe what the Bible teaches. Grammatical, historical interpretation of Scripture. The grammar don't support it. The historical context doesn't support it. We try our best to stay away from doctrines that are not taught grammatically by Scripture. Anyways, God bless you. That was extemporaneous. I hope that you learned something. Have a good night. That was short, straight to the point. God only died, or rather sent his son to die for his elect. God sent his son to die for his elect. God bless you. Have a good night.